Welcome to the Friday, April 11th edition of the Major League Baseball Breakdown here. Matt Brown and Mo Nawara. Mo, let's kick things off here with the Apple TV game. It is Detroit and Minnesota. Currently, we are sitting somewhere in Minnesota in that minus 118, minus 120-ish range, something like that. Even money, maybe a little bit better out there on Detroit with a total that is toggling somewhere between 7.5 and 8. Before I get your opinion on this game, one of the things that we always talk about with baseball is what a large sample size it is. And here we are a couple weeks and change into the season. When do you stop using the, okay, it's a small sample size type deal? Like, when is sample size enough for you to feel much more comfortable in the numbers that you're seeing for these various teams and players?
At least a month in. I mean, I was like reading an article the other day, and a guy was like, I don't even look at a stat until Memorial Day. I think that's probably fair. I mean, I think that's probably fair.
Okay. Wow. All right. That is something else. I probably wouldn't feel comfortable doing that with pitchers, at the very least. I understand hitting can it take a little while to get going or something like that. Pitchers, there's telltale signs with pitchers, right? Like, you're down like 2.5 miles an hour or something, or you're whatever. Like, I don't know if I could be able to do that.
Velocity stabilizes very fast. That's one thing you can look at, like, week one and just be like, okay, this guy's throwing 91 when he should be throwing 93. I'm going to downgrade him, So that you can look at right away, but you just have to stay abreast of it because it's something that is going to change throughout the season. Like, generally speaking, velocity climbs throughout the season. I mean, you were a pitcher, so you know this better than me, but my understanding is that basically as the arm loosens up and gets more reps in, the velocity climbs.
Yeah, it's a deal for me where basically I will just kind of make a list of pitchers that I want to monitor, to where it's like, if you're early on in the season, if you're down 0.5 mile an hour or 1 mile an hour, whatever, I'm not that big of a deal. But like, there's some of these guys who are like, dude, they're down nearly 3 miles an hour on their fastball. And it's like, okay, maybe that gets back and gets back, whatever. But I'm kind of marking those dudes to keep an eye on, because that could be a major red flag with some of these guys out there. Okay. As we said, the Detroit Tigers on the road at the Minnesota Twins. This game found over there on Apple TV. Reese Olson for the Tigers, David Festa for the Twins. As we said, about even money there on the road dog in the Tigers, about minus 120-ish out there for the home favorites in the Twins, and a total of 8. Mo, you did have something that you kind of liked in this one.
I do. I kind of like the under here. I kind of like the Twins as well. This morning there were some minus 112s around, minus 113s. That was close to playable for me. Now I think it's flipping a coin. But I do kind of like the under here, mainly because of David Festa. I think he might be good.
Yeah.
3.16 xFIP last year in a decent sample at AAA. And you can basically port over those numbers to the majors from the AAA leagues last year because the offensive environment was so strong. So you don't build in a lot of regression to that. And when he did throw in the majors, he had like 64 innings, I think. All of his estimators were a lot better than his 4.9 ERA, and his peripherals were really pretty good. Above average whiff rate, above average chase rate, above average first strike rate. I mean, these are all the small sample stuff that you kind of look for, that, you were hinting at it a little bit about the sample sizes and, but if you're missing bats and getting first strikes, that stuff's a little bit harder to fake. So than contact management, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he's one of these guys that just has like a bad fastball and they go up there, they can get whiffs, but then when they throw their fastball, it gets creamed. But he had a 55 fastball grade as a prospect, so probably not. I mean, I think that Festa might be good. I scooped him, so I hope he's good in my hometown fantasy league. You look at these offenses, I mean, Detroit, they've been really good so far. I was watching them the other day. They were hammering the Yankees, I believe it was. They've been one of the best offenses so far, but pretty poor contact numbers. They're bottom 10% on StatCast in hard hit rate. I think bottom 3% in exit velocity. It said that. I'm skeptical it's going to continue. It doesn't look like a good offense on paper. The Twins have been horrid so far, one of the worst in baseball, 25th in weighted runs created so far. They still don't have Royce Lewis.
Yeah,
I kind of like the under in this one.
Yeah, I only look at the Tigers when they are bigger dogs. That's like the only time that I'm excited about the Tigers at all. A lineup that I think, at least in this very small sample size, is super volatile. And I'm with you. So I can never look on the Tiger side in a case where they're only even money, something like that. And like you said, if you look at Festa, and then certainly if you look at some of the projection systems out there, I mean, the estimators on him, a 376 FIP, like a 360 Sierra, like all these things like that. I mean, an xERA 4.14. In today's baseball, like if you're not a top level guy, like a top level pitcher, I mean, these are all really good estimators on him for sure. And as you said, this Tigers lineup, certainly nothing to be afraid of. And then Minnesota has been so incredibly bad at the plate so far this season as well. I think under is the only way to look at this one. And, as far as props go, as much as we're saying we like Festa, I don't think we can confidently say what his leash will be, Mo. So it's like, outs, strikeouts, things and stuff like that. Like with a dude that I don't really know what they're going to do with him, just makes it really difficult for me to try to play those markets.
Yeah, and one more note on Festa. I mean, the robots like Festa. The pitching models are, at least his fastball for sure, and overall. But yeah, they have his fastball as above average to plus on both of the publicly available pitching modeling systems. So I think he's going to be good, but, we'll see. It's way too early to know if he's one of these guys who struggles with contact, like way too early. So I just have to go with the numbers that are a little bit more predictive, and those numbers all like Festa.
Yeah, like we said, guys, 7.5 and 8s out there. I would pay the extra tiny bit of tax for the 8, increases your push equity so incredibly much. And so that's me personally. Mo, I don't know what your feeling is on that. I think we're at kind of like minus 115, approaching minus 120 on the 8. But again, your push equity goes up exponentially with the 8 over the 7.5.
Yeah, I generally lean more towards the more aggressive play in these spots, and just like hoping I'm right about the pitchers or whatever. But another note in this game as well, one of the colder games today, I think, 55 degrees in Minnesota, so that helps the under as well. So that's another reason I like this one. We've seen some of these colder games and just nobody can get the ball anywhere. I was watching Toronto and Boston the other day. Just nobody can, basically the ball's just dying when it gets to the outfield. So it's something to keep an eye on in these totals early in the season. Yeah,
certainly something we will monitor over the course of the first few weeks here and share with you guys anything. Cause as we know, Major League Baseball will just change the ball sometimes and not tell anybody for like a couple of months and whatever, so we'll figure out if that happens to be the case as well. Some it might leak. It might, if something is going on with all that. But for Detroit, Minnesota, play is look at the under of the 8 or 7.5, depending on your risk tolerance out there, and hope that cold weather suppresses in this pitching guys that we've got going at it. Do what we think that they will do here in this. We got everything we do absolutely free. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Head over to thelines.com and get in that free Discord where Mo's in there chatting it up with people. Let you know any plays that get added to the card throughout the course of the day. Good luck on all your Tigers and Twins bets.